Okay. Hey, everyone. It's Wednesday, the 13th of September. It is 14:30 UTC. We meet at this time every week on Wednesday and Thursday for Plutus PBL live coding. Before we jump into today's agenda, just want to give a huge shout out to our two-time PBL contributor, Mr. Frederick Samvura. He's not here today, but co-founder of Equival. He's been running Goma Stake Pool, been contributing to the ecosystem in so many different ways. If you don't follow Goma on Twitter, if anybody has their handle, I'll look for it later. But main author of the brand new Module 301, which was just published on Monday. So there's these learning targets. You get to hear Jonty's voice in these videos, and what hopefully turns out to be a fun little project to help you really think about using validators now that we're moving into this. So huge shout out to Jonty. Thanks for that. And just so everybody knows, this is now live. Any questions about the new module right here?
Let's see.
As always, no hurries to get to this, right? When you'll get to this on your timeline, this course runs asynchronously and is built so that everybody can work through it at their own pace. But I'm excited to hear what people have as they start to move through this one. Upcoming, we'll publish next week a deeper dive into Plutus. This one has the most learning targets yet for any module, because there's a bunch of things now that you're really digging into. You understand the UTXO model. I hope people are starting to be able to think in terms of transactions. That's the thing that happens on Cardano, are transactions. Now that you're getting a lot of those mental models, you've started to see how we use these things. Professor Mix is going to take you on a deeper dive into these learning targets. And then the week following that, Augustine right here is taking the lead on developing Module 303. Thanks, man, for the initiative on that. It's very, very cool to see. So that'll be a deeper dive into Aiken. So those are our coming attractions. But what's everybody up to right now? The way we start these sessions, if anybody's new here, is we all have a chance just to share what we've been working on. If you've been successful on something and want to celebrate, or if you have a question about something and want to ask it, that's how we start each of these meetings. So what's up, everybody? How you doing? Oh, okay, this one, we can touch on this pretty quickly. Hope this is urgent, but hopefully relatively easy. And then this is, we left off with a task last time that I'd like to drop into breakout room number 1 right away. I know that Martin has had some time to explore this, but I think it's worth considering what was going on there, because there's a few concepts that'll give us a chance to cover. But what else? Anything? Anybody struggling with anything in particular, or working on a particular module you have questions about?
There was someone in the chat. There was someone in the chat that asked for help. Chat that was talking about mesh or trying to find a React a starter Plutus template for just straight React as opposed to Next.js. But they wanted to work with mesh, but weren't finding just like a standard React template. So yeah. Did you see that?
I didn't know about it till now. Thanks for the attention to this.
But I didn't recognize, there was somebody helping him, but I didn't recognize either of them.
Okay. So Vishal, is Vishal here?
Oh, I should have invited him to live coding. I don't know why he was around.
You want to drop a quick line there with a link?
Yeah.
Cool. Because yeah, that's a great point. And so first of all, again, on coming attractions, we're going to get to mesh in a deeper dive soon. And one outcome of this module could be that we try to build some additional templates. That could be really exciting. But let's go take a quick look at the mesh documentation. It's mesh.js.dev, right? So mesh has I'll say this again if he's able to show up, but for everybody's knowledge, mesh has a core module. So if I get started and maybe like I want to develop my first app, you can see that it has me installing two different packages right here. One for the mesh core and then one for mesh React, okay? This part right here is written in TypeScript and it can be used in any JavaScript or TypeScript project. Back end, front end, it could be used in a React framework, but also in other JavaScript frameworks. For example, Svelte or AngularJS, if those words mean anything to you, those are examples of other JavaScript frameworks, and mesh will work fine. Then, in addition, they do expose some really helpful React hooks that make it even easier to use mesh. Okay, and obviously this relies on React. I would love to meet with this guy because I think I would like to understand the question better, because this tutorial right here shows people how to build a template. Basically, this will get you to the point of having a Next.js template, as does the lesson that we have in the course. But there are other templates I can imagine people might want. And so if we could really clarify what the goal is, that would be a great thing for us to build together. So we'll pin that one, but let's see if we can get Vishal here and we can work on that together. Thanks for the heads up, Newman.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes, so Haskell prep. This one right here. Would anybody be interested in organizing more of like a Haskell study group where people could opt in to go a little deeper into Haskell stuff?
I think we can do that, James.
Yeah, Kanma team's got it.
Because we've been doing that last two cohorts, so we want to do that more.
Excellent. Oh man, anytime. Just let us know what support you guys need on that, okay?
Dan's into it. I would love like that good like crash course, 2 hours of, just like, the real Pardillo principle, just like get, I can't, I don't want to like be a Haskell superstar, but I wouldn't mind, knowing how to navigate a little bit so that it's not a freak out type of zone.
I love it.
So that little primer would be really, I think that would be good just to knock the edge off of it.
I love it. And there's not much here, right? Module 301, lesson 2 shows you just a little bit more Haskell. And there's 2 links here. This one to learn you a Haskell. My browser says the website's not even secure. Some people love this book and other people find it really annoying. It's written with a real kind of sassy kind of tone, if you're into that. But then this one, this HPM Education Haskell, is a really nice resource that really goes through the essentials And we give you one assignment here, right? Our goal is not for you to become like a full-time Haskeller. If that's your goal, that's something we'll support you to work on. But there is just a reference to a really cool concept called list comprehensions. And this is an example of an assignment that if you understand list comprehensions, you're going to understand a lot more about how Haskell works. And B, there's just a fun little challenge here. And if you find this one really satisfying, make sure to let us know. We can provide more stuff like this, but we also don't want to scare anybody away. Okay, so it's always that kind of balancing act. So your feedback is always going to be helpful there. Dan, what do you think?
I was going to say, in your list of Haskell resources, I have found haskell.mooc.fi to be absolutely brilliant.
Oh yeah, yes.
Look at the top of my file, and let's.
Sorry.
I'll add that link.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Great idea.
Good call. Yep. And Erez, definitely, we can add, let's make a Haskell channel in Gimbal Labs Discord.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Yep, and the IOG series is very good. And it's right, they give you a deep dive into Haskell, but also they recognize where they're trying to get you, which right is Plutus programming. So they give you some good stuff. So any of those resources, people can get together and decide where they'd really want to focus. That's very exciting.
James.
Yep.
I've got a Google account with Google Meet. So if people wanted to get together on a live meeting and talk things through, I'm happy to work out how to use it. I've not played with it particularly, but I'll have a look. If you set up a thing on Discord, then I'll put a link in to it and we can try it at some point.
I love it. Okay, yeah, so I'll add that channel right after today's meeting, and then you can jump in there. And you want to take the lead on organizing some study sessions?
Yeah, can do. That would be good. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cool. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize people were really into Haskell. That's awesome. I'm looking at this IOG Academy playlist. I dropped it in the chat, and it looks really good. It's 16 videos. They're 15 minutes to an hour in length, maybe averaging around 30-45 minutes. And that might be a really good with if you want to like have it on in the the video side. And then so we've got great resources, and thanks for stepping up, Dan. That would be cool. Let me know.
Will do.
Did you do some? Yeah, oh, that's great. That's cool.
When we left off last week, we had this task pinned and we only started to look at it. And we talked about definitely making sure to do this. So I want to hold to that this week. I do think this is relevant to everyone because there's some concepts here that will illuminate different things. But then, is it okay if we skip voting today and start here? We'll see how quickly we get through this. And if we have time, then we can move to some other topic. But I will make a breakout room for deep focus and study sessions. Does that sound fair to everybody?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm gonna make a couple of breakout rooms. We'll say one deep focus on 202.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to join.
I'm going to make one called Study Hall and one called Wild Card for all you wild.
Wild card. That's good.
All right. So we've got some breakout rooms open now. What happens is those won't be on the video recording. Okay, so this room is the live stream and will be archived so people can visit it later. But if anybody wants to jump into a breakout room to do something else, you've got some spaces for that. Cool.
And the way, just so that, folks, just as like a meta thing, basically, I love coming and getting like 30 minutes of sort of reorienting, getting kind of like, I just sort of think it's like in the front of the schoolhouse, or we're all getting settled in. But then having a deep focus time, it's just like, this is my time in the week to work on this. And so, so I'm just gonna sit over in my my corner, and then that's always my favorite part of school. So,
love it.
But I'll hang out until the top of the, for the next 6 minutes, and then at the hour, I'll scurry off.
I love it. I would love it. If I would love to see students, K through 12 age having more time to just sit and focus on something. Can you imagine how much time we spend just talking at kids every day? Never giving them a chance to think for a few minutes straight. That plays a role. Hey, so Martin, you did some research on this question. Do you want to frame our work by kind of sharing what you explored and what you discovered along the way?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You okay with sharing screen for that?
Yep.
Great.
Nice.
I'm going to unshare here, and you can kind of get us up to date. But maybe rewind to last Thursday when we were talking about this, just to get people up to speed on what the problem was in the first place.
Okay, I'll try. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep, perfect.
Try to make it a little bigger. So last week I have this I made this small error where the token name in your metadata, if you register at the aggregator, I use the hex value, which you use almost everywhere except here, and that causes the aggregator to be confused. Because this is like I can show the site. It's about this. The website. This is the aggregator on the left. And it's starts here, which generates this page. So the faucet aggregator looks at the metadata key, which is in the metadata file you submit yourself. So if I can show you this. Like this is my, I just noticed the last time I was thinking about submitting the transaction, but I'm at 32 million and the chain is at 100 million. So it will take all night to update my chain to submit the transaction from the CLI if I want to do the aggregator.
Because you're initializing a new faucet now.
If I want to do, this is my metadata where I did this update, but I cannot submit it now. If that's, yeah. Well, this is there's a function here somewhere. This is the script you have to run in step 5, and this will. And you have made a metadata which you submit here. So all your address and stuff is in there. And also, this is the key, which is searched. Sorry if it's understandable, but there's a lot of things coming together here. You know, this key is searched here. You can see this is to make it findable by the aggregator. You can see this key is the same. And if you can then go to, this will do a search on GraphQL, and the metadata key is one of the variables here. So this will return a list of transactions which everybody submitted. There's like 16 now. So yeah, this metadata key is passed into the faucet list. So you go to the next file, the faucet list file, and the faucet list takes this metadata key and then does a I think this is the use query, and the use query is Apollo client, and Apollo client does a GraphQL search via somewhere else. So with this list, it generates like this grid box, and this grid box is this grid box, which passes in all this data, metadata, contract address, token name, and stuff like that. But before that, where is that? I will go back to my my notes. It goes to check faucet data in the faucet list. So yeah, check faucet data. Oh, I added some stuff here myself. And here it does a mesh function, resolve Plutus script hash. Oh no, resolve fingerprint with the policy name and the name. And it compares this, if this is not the same, to the hex string of the name. So I filled this in on the mesh website, where you can have like they have like the resolvers page. So I checked out what these functions do on mesh. And here you can see the fingerprint, and if you put in your policy ID, which you have in the metadata, and your mesh token name, these should not be the same. If you have if you have made it different, it result in what I compared to here with I put in these values. Like here I put in what I did wrong, and here is the correct one, and these result in the same fingerprint. But that's my question to James. I don't know why exactly, because this is like a trick, because I would not use the fingerprint myself. Maybe I would just say, is the hex value of this thing the same as this one? Why would you do it via the fingerprint? I would not know exactly.
And where are we using fingerprint in the repo? Saw fingerprint was there. Oh, it's in this helper function, right on.
It's this helper function, check faucet data. And this was actually doing the correct thing.
Right.
So it's filtering all the people who did the same as me, which are 3 people.
Right. Right. So this is, I'm very excited that we've gotten to this point of troubleshooting this, because there's actually some really important big concepts for us to look at together. Martin, you did everything right when it came to creating the contract address, minting the token, right? And that's why your fingerprint is still correct. You minted the right kind of tokens and you put them in a faucet correctly. The thing that is new here, and it's a little bit of an undeveloped space in Cardano development, is this concept of aggregation. Okay. And we're just showing one way to maybe aggregate different tools, but we don't know if it's the best way. Okay. So all we've done here is we've said, look, everybody here is creating an instance of this particular smart contract. All of those, because they are similar, they're the same contract, just with different parameters. We can collect all the examples of that. What's the way we collected those examples? Well, you did two things. One, you added your contract address and Plutus CBOR to the front end repository. And we could argue that maybe that's all that needed to be done, right? Maybe we could have had you add some extra information to the Git repo that would have said things like the name of your token. But we didn't do that. We said, okay, just as an experiment, let's have everybody register their faucet on chain, right? Because we can. Is that a good idea in the long term? I don't know. We have no idea if that's going to be a design pattern moving into the future, okay? But it certainly is possible to use transaction metadata as this sort of registry. Can you pull up the GraphQL result that you had?
Yes.
Right, so we can look at it in the browser and we see this data. And I don't know if you're like me. When I see data like this, I assume it's official or serious in some way, right? But it's not. This is completely arbitrary data right here, okay? Your Plutus PBL team just made this up. And who knows if we were grabbing the right information here, okay? Because there's not yet a standard for aggregation of multi-instance applications. Maybe there will be a SIP for that someday, right? Maybe somebody's already working on it. I haven't seen one yet, and we have the opportunity right here just to play around with it. But one of the really important ideas is this is actually no more or less arbitrary than how Cardano NFTs work. With Cardano NFTs, we said, okay, let's use metadata key 721, and let's put this data in the metadata, right? And then a SIP was written and it was adopted, and the rest is history. Now millions of NFTs have been minted with that standard. But it could have been different. So in the same way here, we're just playing around, right? Well, for this particular project, what if we collect this metadata? It's on chain where it can be referenced, and then we just grab that, and that's what we use. This is our database, right? To decide what's going to be represented on this aggregation page. So far, so good. Who does that raise questions for anybody? That description? Now, when it comes to the token name, the way our front end works right now is it's designed to work best if you put the human readable token name, right? But on chain, token names are represented as hexes, right? So I thought more people would make this mistake, like put the CLI version. And there's a couple of different ways to handle that after it happens. But there's another one. That's not yours.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah,
No,
okay.
that's not mine.
It's not the only one.
No,
So
I'm not. There's three. There's three.
Oh,
I'm
good.
not the only idiot.
It's a very reasonable thing to do. And anybody who's minted NFTs has probably made similar mistakes. It's very hard to remember. Wait a minute.
Here's
What's
another
the
one.
exact schema for building an NFT, for example? Right. Now, the thing about metadata in general, whether we're talking about metadata key 721 and NFTs, whether we're talking about this mini.
Uh-oh. Is it me?
To validate the metadata coming in, right?
We lost you, James.
Oh, are you losing me?
Yeah, I'm losing. It's not me, or
No, it's not you.
Oh, am I back now?
Just a few seconds.
Yeah.
We lost you.
There's a thunderstorm outside. I've had very bad internet access lately. It's been, sorry about that, everybody. All right, how's the sound coming through now? You okay?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. So there's no way to force the validation of what people place in metadata. You could do just wrong things because of typos or errors, or you could try to do, things to try to break a system, right? Bad actor kind of moves, okay? And so this is true of NFTs too. A lot of people have minted faulty NFTs. I hope they did it on pre-prod, but I know some people who have minted faulty NFTs on mainnet, right? And anytime, for tools like JPEG Store or anywhere where you're viewing NFTs in your wallet, for example, those wallets are validating after the fact that the metadata is right. And if that metadata is wrong, you don't see the picture of your NFT, right? Or you don't see the details the way you wanted them. Now you could build a front end that guides people to build perfect metadata. But do you see the difference there? That would be you building the website that serves as the interface to produce exactly the kind of metadata you want. That has nothing to do with what's on chain. That's just a really nice user experience. And anytime, if you were going to design your own NFT minting platform, for example, that's probably something you would want to spend time on. Your platform should have a 100% success rate of minting NFTs correctly. But we didn't do that for you in module 204, right? Now, can you imagine how you would build a form that maybe validated things so that when people register, they don't have to know how to use Cardano CLI, but they can just use your form and submit the correct metadata? Okay, that's a key idea, right? And so as an exercise, anybody here who is enjoying the front end parts more, if you're a JavaScript developer and you want to put those skills to work, that's an interesting extension you can do right here, right? Build a contract instance submission form in React that always submits exactly the right kind of data to this metadata key. And so we know that moving forward, that's going to be a part of any applications we build. Now, even with that said, what Martin just switched back to over here, and could you zoom in just a little bit? Maybe 1 or 2 tabs. All right, so we kind of took one kind of approach here. And Akash was here a second ago. Thanks again to Akash for sharing this example of how we solve for this error. We said, okay, well, look, if the token name is in hex form, let's ignore that result. But did we have to do it that way?
well, you could be just translating it.
Exactly, right? So an alternative approach to this would actually be to say, all right, we know that some people submitted their token name as a human readable string, others as a hex byte string. whichever one it is, check for which kind it is, and if it's a hex, translate it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I could make that.
100%, right? So there's another nice exploration, and the lines 56 through 65 are in this page right here because of a student contribution to the repo. So if anybody else wants to contribute an alternate solution, go for it. That's another great thing to try. Right? See if you can get those 3 examples where somebody submitted their token name as a hex string. See if you can get those to show up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I would like to discuss which approach, because otherwise I would have just submitted a new one, and then you would have 2.
Right.
And then if you make this code change, then that will be messed up twice. Maybe you would see it double.
And this is, remember, right? This is, first of all, we're all doing this on pre-prod. So messing it up is the whole point. Right. And let's play around with it. That page, I hope everybody thinks that page is ugly. And you know, if you built that, you'd be embarrassed, because I'm a little embarrassed every time we put it on the screen. But again, that's the point. We want you guys to have something that is obviously primitive so that you're not afraid to play with it, break it, just destroy this thing. Okay. So yeah, this is a place where we can screw around and try stuff. Damn it. I think I just froze again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I'm going to turn off my camera at least, and hopefully that helps. Would anybody be interested in just trying this to start? See if we can get those other solutions to show up on Martin's screen?
James, what is a fingerprint really?
Okay.
Because you already have like hashes, which is like some kind of fingerprint.
Yes. That's correct. Go back to the GraphQL result. And are we, oh no, go to, sorry, this is not the one though. Just for fun, watch this. On line 8, go to the end of line 8 on the left-hand side. And under after the curly bracket, add a new line. Yeah. And now that transaction, it could have outputs. Start typing the word outputs and auto-complete that. Open up some new brackets after that. Sorry, curly brackets.
Curlies.
Yeah. Enter to move to the next line and start typing assets, I think. No, tokens, is it?
Tokens.
Tokens, curly brackets. And then inside of there, start typing asset, I think.
Huh.
There we go. Now another set of curly brackets.
Wow.
And finally, now start typing like asset again. And you can see the options here. So we have, right, the asset ID, the asset name. That's fine. We're kind of familiar with those. Is policy ID one of our options?
Nope.
If you erase the AS and start
Oh,
the
yes.
policy ID. But
And
do you see how another option is fingerprint? Okay, so every token on mainnet, or sorry, on the chain has a fingerprint. And the reason we want, like the reason that's provided is so that there would be a fixed length string to represent every token. We already have fixed length policy IDs, and that's great. But token names could be an arbitrary length. And so, right, at the token level, they wanted to have a way to also have a fixed length hash of every single token.
Oh, so this is the token name, really? only
It is. It's
fixed
a
length.
representation of the whole thing, right? Like it's a representation of the asset ID, which is the concatenation of the policy ID and token name. Right. But it's now it's a fixed length, which just some people use that. There's advantages to that. And I can't speak for exactly how it's calculated. That's in the specs.
Yeah, so if this is the same, and this is the same, and this is the same, and this is the same, yeah,
Right.
Does it
is
work
the
the same way a hash works?
Exactly. You can think of it as the hash of an asset ID. That's
Got
exactly,
it. Okay. Same
Yeah.
underlying process.
Exactly.
So you could just as well do first is the policy ID the same, and then is the name the same result. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Mhm. And you can see this is a reasonable approach, and it's an effective one, but it's also an opinionated approach. And you might disagree with the opinion expressed here.
Yeah,
So as we jump into implementing this another way, that's the main thing I want everybody to take away today is, look, you're going to be expressing opinions. Do you want validation on the initial UX where people are submitting information to the chain? And how do you want to handle validation on the other end, right? Blockchain pushes all of us to take a little bit more responsibility, right? Protecting our keys, making sure that the right data is going in the right places, right? But still, handling errors is always going to be a part of software development. The question is, how much do you want your application to expect of people to do the correct things? And how much do you want to clean up the mess for them if they don't quite get it right? Let's do a version that cleans up the mess. How's
so
that going to work?
right now this returns a Boolean, true or false.
Mhm.
So it will skip. It will not do an end. It will not make this if true.
Right. And show us what happens if you just delete all of that, right? Let's just skip the check and return the box. You can comment out lines 85 to 89 and then line 94, it looks like, right?
Do this as well.
Yeah. All right. So show us what happens in the browser if you leave that check out. Oh, no, leave it commented and save that and jump back to the browser where you've got this running on localhost.
Yep.
Starts to load. Did everybody see that though? It started to load.
Yeah. Oh, and then it
says,
goes.
okay, there's a problem.
It goes.
Bingo. All right. But there's also a line reference to where that's happening. It's in the file you were just looking at on line 212.
Yeah. Dynamic instance. 212. Resolve script ref.
Okay, so explain this error.
And the error is cannot read property of undefined. Reading length. I have no idea.
What appears to be undefined?
The length is different.
I know, but we don't see length anywhere. So where's that length coming from?
That's a good question. This resolve script ref, what does it do?
So that's a mesh function.
Yeah, looks like it.
Right? it takes some, well, what does it take as a parameter? I shouldn't be giving away answers right here. It takes this faucet Plutus script. What's the type of that? You can put a mouse over it.
It's a Plutus script.
Okay, so it takes a Plutus script and it returns apparently a script ref, whatever that is. And you can look in the mesh documentation to learn more there. But I want to leave that to you. Let's just figure out, where was underscore faucet Plutus script defined in the first place?
Const Plutus script version 2 code.
Okay.
Faucet contract list.
Oh, and where was that coming from?
Interface.
So yeah, that's the type on line 47 to 49. We're saying that a faucet contract list is a list that has these keys that are a string followed by a string. Okay. But where is it being imported from?
I would think somewhere here, but I don't.
It was 30, 40 something, line 44.
Oh, it goes faucet.
Yeah. And this is the file. Anybody who's done this assignment is familiar with this file. If you haven't done it yet, don't worry, you'll get there. Right?
Here you added your stuff.
Exactly. Just show us what that file looks like.
Can you go there? Ah, great.
Right. So each of these lines is very long because those are Plutus CBOR strings that represent an entire smart contract. So you would have to scroll very far to the right to see the whole thing. But the point is, this is for now. There it goes. Right. This is for now how we are collecting CBOR from everybody.
So, and one is different size.
Yeah, one of them is a little bit different.
That's weird. Is that me?
Maybe somebody tried to build this in Aiken or something. I don't know. Okay, but you see the pattern here. Everybody has an address, and that list of addresses that are serving as the keys to this list, those are the same addresses that we're going to find in the GraphQL query. So you did two things. You submitted a Git merge request with your address and the CBOR. And then you went on chain and you put some metadata there that included the associated contract address, right? Like that one right there ends in FU6V, right? The first example. Just down a little farther is the contract address.
Oh, here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was looking for that one.
So we do the query of the metadata. We say, okay, there it is. Oh, kind of interesting that the last one you're seeing in this list is the first one you see on the metadata, right? That kind of makes sense. Okay. And then there's the CBOR that's associated with it.
Yeah.
And long story short, even this, you don't actually have to do this. There are ways to get the CBOR that's in a reference script directly off chain. But GraphQL doesn't do it. And so this was a chance to just show you a hacky way to accomplish something. But hopefully now that you've seen this, if you read the Go Maestro docs, for example, about how to pull the CBOR straight down from the chain, you can see how we could skip the step of having this faucets Plutus.json file. All right, there's another exploration for anybody who wants to try that.
So
what's going on? Somehow, if we don't filter these transactions out, at least one of them is not finding the correct reference in that JSON file. And just, can you refresh the faucet aggregator in your browser. And everybody watch this one more time, right? If we refresh the page, it loads. Right, there it is.
Load and
They're starting to, some of them loaded up correctly, and then it hit the wrong one. Right, so you can see that the culprit here is not every instance, it's just some of them. And if you're trying to build a distributed application, you have to be ready for this case. And I've mentioned this before, and we will come back to it. But by the way, this is also a problem with self-sovereign identity. Anytime you have a self-sovereign identity or a DID system and you're trying to resolve credentials, there's the possibility that some of the items in that list will be malformed. There's the possibility that you might want to remove access for some parties in a system. And the ways you address that are actually going to be very similar to what we're talking about here. We need some way of filtering data that, if done right, looks one way, but can be either just wrong or corrupt.
But this script ref, what is it?
Okay,
used
let's
for?
find that in the mesh docs. You've got the mesh docs open at top, right? And this is actually a UTXO. Where is that? I gotta find it. I forget how up to date these docs are. You might actually have to go. You know what? Let's do this just for fun. There's the GitHub link in the top right corner of the mesh page.
Oh, woo.
Let's jump into the packages here.
Where do I? It's always. Where do I find
The
it?
first folder? Yeah, underneath Abdel Karim's name, the directory packages. Up a little bit. Keep going.
Oh,
3 more. There
wow.
it is. Yeah. And let's jump into the module. And actually, can you zoom in a little bit? And the source directory. And I think this is in core. Check core. Nope, not core. Maybe it was common. Yeah, types.
Wow, this is the insider info.
This is the mesh source code. Yeah. Now at the bottom of this page, there should be one that says UTXO. Okay. And this is the UTXO type. So anytime you're handling UTXOs inside of mesh, they're going to be in this form. You know what they look like on Cardano CLI. You've been seeing that already. Here's what they look like in mesh.
And here's the output.
Right. Okay, so now lines 11, 12, and 13 have question marks on them because not all UTXOs have a data hash, Plutus data, or a script ref.
Oh, so this is optional.
Yeah, question mark for optional. That's a TypeScript syntax right there.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
But every UTXO has, and the mesh guys, they're a little bit unsatisfied with the naming here because it's a tiny bit confusing when you first see it, right? This is a single UTXO, and it's got these input and output subfields, but that's I don't think that's really the best way to see what it is, right? But you know that every UTXO has a TX hash and an index, as you can see on lines 5 and 6. And you know that every UTXO is owned by one and only one address. That's line 9. Right? It's got some assets in it. And maybe that's all.
Place. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's an asset? Let's go find that in the types as well, because you see on line 1, the asset type is input. So what's that?
Yeah, unit or and quantity.
Okay, so unit is the word mesh uses for asset ID, right? This is the concatenation of the policy ID and the token name. And how many? Now, Lovelace, all lowercase, the word Lovelace in quotes is a valid unit. Or any other asset ID. Okay, however, we still haven't really answered what a script ref is. You just saw where it is optionally in a UTXO, right? Now go back to that UTXO for a sec. This is just a string, right? So all three of these, 11, 12, 13, those are all just
strings. Yeah.
Right. So there's not a lot of extra validation here for how we're handling each of these types. Okay. But wasn't there a helper function that we were using? Go back to your VS Code for a sec. And this error was like line 200 something, where we saw this error.
212.
Yeah. Okay. Resolve script ref. Can we try to figure out where that function is? This might be easy to read from your browser. We might not have to go into the source code for this. Right, that gives us the type. What does it take? It takes as input either a Plutus script or a native script, and it returns a string.
But what does it resolve to?
What does it resolve to? Let's go see if we can find that one. That one should be in the resolvers page of the mesh site. I don't think we're gonna have to dig too hard for this one.
Is there no way it's in the module of the imported?
Yeah.
You install the module, but VS Code doesn't go to the implementation really.
Well, so this is when if you go through VS Code, you're getting the distribution version of mesh, which it doesn't have all of the source code. Right here, we're able to look at all of the source code.
So it's not readable, really.
But I think they have documentation. Go back to the resolvers page. You've got that tab open. I don't think we're gonna have to dig. We had to dig for the types because I don't think those are fully documented. But here up in your browser tabs, next to this tab, you've got resolvers.
Yes.
Yeah, so can you find the one we're talking about? Resolve.
Not in there.
Resolve script hash is not.
Script. Resolve native script hash.
Resolve. Yeah, I found it. It's, oh, yours says resolve script. It's under Plutus script hash. I've got it right here on my screen. Plutus script hash. And there it is.
Resolve.
Oh, but we were just, yeah. I mean, this is the one, right? So it takes the address and will return a script hash. This can be used. No, that's not exactly it. But this is the idea, right? Again, it just creates a hashed string to represent the contract or the script, right? Whether it's a Plutus script or a native script. And this is actually a great tool. And this is how Go Maestro works, okay? So if you wanna, let me try to find exactly the link. Because it's possible to query the blockchain for the script hash and then get the CBOR that actually represents that Plutus code. Okay, it's just that GraphQL doesn't provide that CBOR even if we wanted it. If it did, we wouldn't have you submitting a Git merge request,
So what you're checking here, if you did it correctly, is that the
Well,
intent?
what are we passing to it? Remember, what was faucet Plutus script right there? What was the data type of that?
a Plutus script? Yeah.
Right. So we're saying, yeah, like, is this, first of all, we need that Plutus script to do this thing. Okay, and that's actually a great reason to go into the source code. If you want to jump back to the mesh Git repo, let's find resolve script ref, because this will actually take us full circle.
So is it maybe not working on that one contract number 2, which is different, and maybe the name is not the problem? Or am I saying something stupid?
No. That's, I think you're right, but I wanted to show you.
Because it maybe stops on this one, which is maybe not the wrong, maybe not right. Maybe the name is actually not the problem. It's only that this one has the name wrong and the script wrong. Could be.
Right. No, it's show us the error one more time in the browser. Oh, script. Yeah. I actually can't find resolve script ref in.
Doesn't really exist.
Might not.
So now I'm wondering if I do this.
Excellent. Yes, this will absolutely work. Okay, if you get rid of the problem ones here directly from that file, you can absolutely get this to work. And that's one way to think about which contracts you have to figure out how to remove from the list.
Still giving me some issue. Maybe I have to start over. I'm not sure.
Oh no, the problem is that you can't have comments in JSON.
Oh. Uh-huh. Really? How? That's
It's really annoying.
really annoying. I was just saying.
But just delete a few and you can always Control Z to put them
Yeah.
back in.
I was just wondering, will this yeah. Oops. So this function resolve ref script ref is like
I can't find that. Where is that imported from anywhere? Can you just search the page for that? Yeah, where's the other instance? It's
mesh
imported
core.
from core. I
So
can't
that
find it in the mesh code base, but I was assuming that if we could find it,
but here's the SIPs. Oh,
core. You know, you're in core where it says packages module, that is core. But here,
Oh.
just search that folder. You've got the go to file search bar at the top of the page. Just search for what we're looking for. Resolve script ref. You see, no match is found. I don't know why. I gotta, it's not in
What?
the docs.
That's
But
some
oh, Siri thinks I'm talking to her.
hacking.
I'm not sure why. I got to remember why we used resolve script ref in the first place in this file when it appears to be deprecated.
Oh, no, it's
Well,
not.
it doesn't. It looked like it took longer to fail that time. So
Yeah,
maybe the
but-
one you got rid of was a good idea.
No, it's not it.
No, but for some reason, and first of all, we recognize that one of the problems with some of the results is that the token name is in hex form. Fine. But is that the only thing that could be wrong about this metadata?
Maybe not, but
There's other things that could be wrong. And certainly, if somebody added metadata to just like we were just looking at on GraphQL, and their address can't be found in the JSON file, then clearly that's going to cause an error. Does that make sense?
oh, that too.
Right. Right. So you can, and that's happened to a few people. They've done everything correctly, but they've been waiting on our team to approve the merge request. And until the merge request is approved, you're not going to see it on the published website.
Yeah, or it will create an error, maybe.
And I was hoping we could find the source code for resolve script ref, because I'm assuming that's where the length keyword is being called.
Yeah, I was very interested in what does the thing that causes the error actually do inside.
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, and I could tell you where it's coming from. You see how it says can't read properties of undefined, right? If we are passing it a faucet Plutus script that is undefined, which, by the way, in our source code that you have in VS Code right here, look for where faucet Plutus script is first initialized.
Not here.
Yeah, just search for it. So right there. So look at this, right? It's going to say, all right, all of these are V2 Plutus scripts. That's the expectation. The code, we are pulling it from that Plutus file with the list of contracts. But can you see how that might be undefined? If I try to pull from that list for a contract address that doesn't exist, the code in this object is going to be undefined. And then I'm assuming this mysterious resolved script ref function checks the length of the input before it does some validation.
Oh, so it's empty.
And that's where that error is coming from, right? We pass an undefined value to it.
So it's passing something empty to it.
Mm-hmm. So there's another place we could add a guard. We could, instead of trying to add or remove registered faucets after querying the metadata, we could put a better check right here. All right.
Equals 1.
Yeah, so that's okay. But wasn't the problem wasn't that faucet Plutus script was undefined. Wasn't the problem that the code part was undefined? Remember how that was an object?
This one.
Yeah. So at the end of line 202, where we have, okay, check if there's query data, check if there's a UTXO, add a question mark there. And without a space, just all one string. And actually, can you zoom in a tiny bit? I think this is probably pretty
sorry.
It's okay.
Big screens.
Question mark dot code. Okay, save that. Let's see if this just renders.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
So
that's probably the most elegant solution right there.
so there's no code in it, right? And now
And how
the
many, yeah, how many results are on the screen right now? You have, there's the count number of each one. What do we get to?
oh, this goes wrong.
Ooh,
that.
look, right. So that's a bad one, but it's rendering anyway. That's kind of, this is
A lot
kind of
nicer.
interesting. Okay.
Well, do we have more? Maybe this is our nasty.
Yeah, we can see that a few of them don't look like they're supposed to, but certainly this is maybe a more inclusive solution. And remember, you removed one from the faucet list, didn't you?
Yes, that's true.
You want to go back there and Control Z, save that, and then we should see that it still works. Yeah, nice. Save that, refresh this page. So here's another philosophical question. In a decentralized application, maybe even one that is permissionlessly letting people add instances to some kind of aggregator, would you rather see all the data, even the bad data, and know that it's a fully open application? Or would you rather the maintainers of the aggregator filter it for you and only show you the right stuff?
Yeah.
I could argue either side of that argument. Does anybody feel strongly either way?
Yeah, I would like to see the bad ones in a different like window maybe, or like a filter, default filter, but maybe not hidden completely. But it's interesting.
I like this better.
It's interesting what this error is.
Right. Right.
Contract address.
So why did that happen? Let's try to find that one in the GraphQL playground.
It's number 6. What is the
And the address, notice it's the address that is like presented as a list of strings, not just as a single string, right?
would it have this?
Should, yeah. So you can search for that in the GraphQL playground. Okay, now here's something really interesting. What's going on here?
Contract address. It has 2. But one is not an address.
Does anybody know why it needs 2? Anybody seen this before?
I don't know. No, I didn't see the. I don't know. No.
All right, this is actually. I hope that people find this part really frustrating. Ready? In metadata, the longest string you can include is 56 characters. That's our limit. If you want to include a string longer than 56 characters, you can. You just split it up into substrings, none of which are longer than 56. Okay. Now, why was there a longer address here?
It's a good question.
What kind of address? All right, what kind of addresses is everybody here more used to? These short ones or the long ones?
Is it like one is like with the stake key and the other
Yeah.
one isn't?
Bingo. Right. So all of these contract addresses that we had you submit don't include staking credentials. But that's not because they're contract addresses. It's just because they don't have staking credentials. Okay. It's actually absolutely fine to add staking credentials to a contract address. That's a good thing, right? You would want to earn staking rewards from tokens locked in a contract, right?
Right.
So here we have somebody who actually did a really good thing. They built a contract address, then they added to it a staking credential. And our system is not that. Did everything right. But our front rows, because it doesn't do anything in the case where the address is a list of strings that need to be combined to make a valid address.
Oh. Oops.
Yep, right. So there's an improvement that could be made to this faucet aggregator. Make sure that you can handle staked addresses.
Huh. Turned out completely different than what I thought it was.
That's interesting, right? What did you think it was?
I thought it was like the names was that it was double checking that with the contract address or something made the like the code different. But that was just a coincidence where somebody made like two differences.
Right.
Where the one covered over the other.
I noticed, by the way, that even if we did fix our system so it handled those longer form addresses, that address is not listed in our faucets Plutus.json. So it would still throw an error there. We wouldn't be able to find the CBOR for it. But at least I think this would be a better application if it allowed people to stake their faucet contracts.
So is it actually this one which is causing the error? Because it's the address, right? Or is it this is the address of the UTXO and not of the script?
It could be, well, actually the way I think JavaScript, if you pass it a list of strings and you just ask it for that list, it might just already concatenate those for you. This might be fine. What does that one look? Because I think we are putting the contract address on screen. Is there a place where that address is rendered? It might not be getting past the error part. I'd have to check that.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was kind of a rambling ride, but I hope people found a couple of insights there. And we can continue to return to this project. I'm really, really excited for everybody to get a chance to try to complete this project firsthand. It's designed to give you a chance to confront a couple of really interesting concepts on your own. But also, as you can see, if you find errors along the way, or if you start to think about ways that it could be better, I hope you'll bring those questions to live coding in the future. That's why this contract exists.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Something interesting to play around with.
Yeah, I hope people can maybe
Wow.
find some extra explorations here. There's a few things you can screw around with, and feel free to try to break it, whether you've done this already or if you're just curious. One way to do this assignment is just to do it exactly as it's written and get it correct. But I always like the students who get wrong answers on purpose too, just to find out what would happen. So feel free to hack a little bit and see what you can do.
Like I always like to see what I'm doing, so
Yes.
We still got 2 minutes. Right.
Check it out.
Did I do it wrong? Is this not the place? No, probably not. Like in the middle of a.
Erez, what do you think?
Yeah, hey. No, I'm thinking it would be a really nice feature to have some kind of platform within Gimbal Labs where like more advanced students can, I don't know if it's tutoring, but can, like someone who's more of a beginner and needs help can book with like a schedule and like set a timer appointment, and then they can actually do like some kind of video conference or like, like helping each other kind of thing. And other people can jump in also. I would find that really helpful. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it.
Cool.
Yeah,
that would be
no,
really
that's,
useful. Yeah.
Yep. We've started to see people contributing in different ways. And what were we talking about at the beginning of this call? Getting some Haskell sessions going, but just like you're saying, getting tutoring sessions. These are the kind of initiatives. If anybody gets them started, just then ask for whatever help you need, and we'll try to get you that help. But I think what I'm looking for at this stage is making sure that the action is initialized by people who want to get it started. Okay. So, and that's just for everybody here. If you see something that could be happening, take that first step, right? Put out a call to action, see who's interested, organize a meeting, and then make a plan and ask for what help you need.
James.
Dan.
Cool.
Yeah, the my thought, the couple of weeks ago we put Q&A, onboarding 100 and Q&A building background knowledge 200 as questions on Discord. Nobody's put anything in them yet. I'm thinking that's a good place to start for people who want support. So if you have a particular question, ask it in there. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I know Newman is as well. So you will get a response. It may not be instant. It may be a few hours later, but it will get noticed. And from that point on, we can then go, okay, we can get together in a Discord chat or set up a more formal Google Meet or something like that, and just be there to talk through what the issues are, because we're all down the road on where I know Newman and I are both in the 200s at the moment. So anybody who's got any problems in the 100s, we've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. So and if we can't answer the question, there are other people out there who can. So I would suggest that's a good place to start. Put a call out on the Discord, and then we can progress it from there. Does that seem to make sense?
Yeah, that's awesome. And maybe some like regular calls to action to remind people that those exist. If you guys want to just add everyone on the server and say, hey, these channels are here if you have specific questions. By the way, you reminded me, I just added one for the 300 level. So that's there now. And I just added a Haskell study group channel under Plutus PBL. But really, the only thing most people don't have access to is just creating new channels on this server. But we've kept it pretty open otherwise. I think everybody's allowed to add everyone. Obviously, do that sparingly, but or you can add PPBL 2023 and just get the students who have self-selected that role. Yeah, this is, I think I think we are creating the roots of a really special network right here. And the steps we're talking about right now of starting to jump into these opportunities of organizing additional sessions. That's what I've always hoped would happen. And to hear us getting close is really exciting.
Ew.
It's not clear. Oh, look at that. Yep, you got some magic going.
I was checking out. Well, I was doing the ref script logging,
Mhm.
but it's a lot of garbage.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure that even does anything. With this resolve script ref, I wish I could tell you why we included it, and I just can't remember. I really don't
What does
know.
it do? It does.
It's not even in mesh. I don't even, but it's not causing an error either. That's a real mystery. No, we'll get to the bottom of that one. They maybe it was removed from a recent release and we're still on an old version of mesh. I'll play around with that, and that's a fun extra credit assignment for
It's
anybody.
just data, and it does. Oh, that's the conclusion.
Maybe it doesn't do. Yeah, it looks like it's just giving us the CBOR string anyway.
Yeah, every time the same.
Well, they're all similar, right? Because these are almost exactly the same contract. So you're going to see a lot of similarities between
So,
each of the strings. It's
looks
just
like-
that they have different parameters in them.
I think it's returning exactly what it's put into.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe
Okay. It resolves and it doesn't change anything.
it's like one of those buttons that just feels good to press, but it doesn't really do anything.
Okay, cool. It's just there because the definition is just filled out like it was.
Yeah. Well, try it. What if you remove the resolve script? Just put faucet Plutus script. Well, yeah, we still need the script ref, but I'm saying just remove the resolve script ref function that's around it. You see what I mean? Yeah. Is that going to work if we just pass it that way?
Where do we?
No, you were right. It just takes a moment. Oh, well, okay. So script ref doesn't like the type. Okay, so it's probably gonna.
It's up for the type.
Okay.
It's a
So
type
this-
helper.
This does have, this is
So-
an effective. Oh, it's, you know what resolve script might do? Maybe all it does is it returns the code field from a Plutus script. From a Plutus
Yep.
script object. That might be all it does. I don't know.
And otherwise the type is wrong or something.
Right. Right. Maybe try, instead of resolve script ref, try just
Oh, dot code.
script.code. Yeah.
Should do the same.
Well, yeah, I wonder.
That should be, yeah, because it wants a string.
What do you think?
And this is not a string, this is a type.
But code is, right? Yeah, so does that work?
I think so.
Looks fine. Okay. Oh,
Simpler.
does it still work? Yeah. Right. So that's a nice fix too. And
Oh,
all these tools are in development, right? So you'll see mesh breaking sometimes because it's being updated in real time. Anybody who's playing with Aiken has seen that too, because there's been so much development work on Aiken over the last 6 months. So if you see something that doesn't work anymore, please assume the best intentions, and it's just that everything is getting built really fast as we're all learning it. All right, that was a fun session. If people have new questions from looking at this or other ones, we'll pick it up tomorrow, same time, same place. Tomorrow's meeting will start with just a chance for everybody to share their questions and what they want to work on. And we won't come with an agenda. So wide open, we'll see where we end up. If you're watching this video later, we meet every Wednesday and Thursday at 14:30 UTC. You can find a live coding calendar at plutuspbl.io. /live-coding. Be sure to check out the calendar and we hope to see you